Hey people, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
season 4 of Better Let Me Tell You.
Any Prince fan from Purple Rain would know. Wendy? Yes, Lisa. Is the water warm enough? Yes, Lisa. Shall we begin? Yes, Lisa. You don't you know the Purple Rain soundtrack?
No.
That's Computer Blue.
Oh, no, I don't know the Purple Rain soundtrack.
What a letdown.
I don't
One of the greatest albums of all time, Purple Rain.
Don't know the soundtrack. I know the song, I just don't know the soundtrack.
Okay, well, on that note, everybody, welcome to, Prince's favorite podcast.
Maybe it is. You don't know.
What episode are we on?
We are on episode 178.
178. Welcome, everybody, to Pero Let Me Tell You,
Yes.
episode 178. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday, everybody. We are the only podcast that can say, we saw the new James Bond with Ana Navarro.
We did?
Yes, we did. I didn't tell you that because you would have gone hunting for her in the theater.
She was in the theater?
Yes, she was. I even played with Cha-Cha, her dog, before. Because when David and I went to get concessions and you went inside, as I was walking toward the concession, I was like, oh, that's Ana Navarro. And Dave was like, oh, I just thought it was some lady that looked like Ana Navarro. And then she was with her dog. And I was like, is this Cha-Cha? And she's like, oh, she started laughing. She's like, yes, it is. And I'm like, oh, is she friendly? So I played with her for a little while.
Wait. We had a whole evening.
Yeah.
After we hung out, and nowhere in this evening or in the past week, you decided to tell me that Ana Navarro saw James Bond with us?
Because I was saving it for this moment. Almost a week later, I was sitting on this.
So for a week, Ana Navarro, I've been seeing her on The View this week.
Yep.
And for a week, I know that she saw James Bond with me, and I didn't know.
Yep.
No. Did you ask her to be on the show? And did you tell her? I don't know. We met before.
I did okay, I didn't ask her to be on the show because I know she's going through some stuff right now with her mother is very ill.
Yeah.
But I did, I was like, oh, because honestly, I was more like about playing with Cha-Cha, the dog. And whatever, and I was like, oh, she's like, oh, hi, whatever. I'm like, yeah, we've actually met before. I told her, I'm like, yeah, when, Lee Schrager hosted, and she's like, oh, yeah, I remember that event. She's like, but I had a couple glasses of wine. I'm like, yeah, we all did. But, but she remembers the event.
She remembers the event. So I'm sure, a little sober, she would have remembered
Exactly.
Because she spoke with us for a while.
Yes.
Well.
We're the only podcast that can say that.
Wow. Who saw No Time to Die with James Bond, which you didn't like the movie. I didn't. The movie, but I felt the movie was a sort of gift to James Bond fans.
Yes.
And as we spoke in the last episode, that would be me.
Yes, I'm going to defer to you. And I can't get into the reasons why I didn't like the movie without spoilers, so I won't go into it, but
I just, I'm not going to give anything away.
I felt it was a letdown.
I just thought that it is the perfect ending to the Daniel Craig era. It was beautifully put to us in a bow. And if you are a James Bond fan, like a real fan, me and David, we're
you guys really
fans.
enjoyed it. Yeah,
David is a friend of ours.
He co-hosted the show.
Yes, he's been a co-host of our show. David from Geek Bro. He knows the franchise really well.
Yeah, very well.
It's filled with the whole movie is filled with little Easter eggs of previous movies. James Bond movie. So, if you're a casual movie goer, you'll like it, or, maybe you, won't care too much about it.
Right.
But if you are a real fan and you love the franchise, it's perfect. So, anyway.
So, before we get in, I just want to give a quick thank you to the Public Relations Society of America's Miami chapter for letting me host their Hispanic Heritage Month panel this past week. So thank you, ladies, for allowing me to host.
Y qué cookies estaba.
I looked really cute. I'm not gonna lie.
You always do.
Yeah, I know, but I've lost like 15 pounds, so I look cuter.
Anyway, so you know what I wanted? The moment I heard about this, I was like, oh, we have to mention this on the podcast.
Okay.
Viste quién is standing up for aliens.
I totally thought of you.
So I'm currently going through with Demi Lovato because I'm a Demi Lovato fan.
Yes.
I'm a Lovatic.
I was gonna say, what do they call Demi's fans?
Lovotics, I think they're called.
Lovotics.
I'm I stand Demi hard. I think I'm sort of going what you went with Britney in 2007 because
To a lesser degree, well, no, not to a lesser degree, to a worse degree, because Demi's was worse than Britney's. Demi had strokes and heart attacks.
well, no. I'm not even talking about that.
So just hospitalization
I'm not even talking
alone.
about that. I mean, it's very different circumstances.
Right.
I mean, because Demi's issues, were in 2018. It's just that I feel that Demi Lovato is one of these people that reacts without thinking.
Yeah, what was it that you say? They live out loud?
Yes. Right. Every thought, everything
Just comes out.
Out in Twitter.
Yeah.
Because let's not forget the frozen yogurt debacle where Demi Lovato was triggered
Right, by fat-free
because
yogurt.
of fat-free yogurt. That
Well, then don't leave your house, darling.
that it's triggering for somebody who's struggled with weight and all that stuff. And this week, I don't know if it was on Twitter.
Probably on Twitter. If
Or
I had to
something.
pick, it'd probably be Twitter.
They said that, and I use the correct pronoun.
Yes, you did.
That aliens shouldn't be called aliens; they should be called extraterrestrial.
Yes, and I'm glad someone is finally taking up the battle for creatures that may or may not even actually be here.
Right,
Right.
and we don't know too much about them.
Right. But I'm so glad someone has decided I'm going to be their voice.
And it's like with all the issues going on in the world,
With all the issues going on in your own life, Demi
Right.
Lovato.
this is what we're going with.
This is the cause, the flag.
And
you're
I was
gonna
like,
pick up.
I'm like, Demi. I was like, oh.
And listen, I believe in aliens, and if you're watching the second half of this season of Horror Story, aliens are responsible for everything that we have right now, including this technology we're using to record. But I believe in aliens. I just don't think that they're bothered by things like that. I think they're beyond labels.
I believe.
I mean, they don't even
I
have.
believe
they don't even
in
have.
the, okay, no, wait a minute.
naughty bits.
I believe in the possibility of extraterrestrial life.
Right.
I'm not going to say I believe in aliens because I have never done research as to aliens existing.
But when I say I believe in them, it's just because it's pretty arrogant of us to think that we're it.
Right, but but to say that you believe in aliens because of that, I mean, there's no concrete evidence that shows that aliens exist. Right.
But there's other galaxies out there, so
Right.
sure.
So I believe in the possibility that there could be
all right.
extraterrestrial life, but I'm not going to say, oh yes, aliens do exist. Well, I don't have any evidence that they exist. Right.
Fair enough, but I can't see the atom, but I know that's there.
Right. But so I'm open to the possibility that there is life somewhere else.
Right.
Or there could be.
Right.
But, ahorita they're going to be saying that, aliens should be an equal protection, class. Like,
Yes, protect the grays.
yes. I mean, this is a slippery slope that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when the news came out earlier, it was everywhere.
Of
and
course.
Everybody was
Yeah.
laughing. And it's like, hi, Demi, this is not. We are not far removed enough from your drug issues for people for you to say this and people not to make.
What step in AA is this? Is this is this because of the California rehab?
I don't know, and for people to make fun of you and like, it's no. But
I just think it's interesting that again, with all the things going on in Demi's life, this is what Demi has decided is going to be the focus.
But I love them.
Yes, we do like Demi. So I don't know, aliens. If they're out there, tell us, if you listen to us, let us know what you'd like to be called, aliens.
Listen, if there's any evidence that aliens do exist, we should talk to the Spice Girls.
They would know.
Because the Spice Girls
met
did
them.
see aliens in Spice World.
Yes, to the point where one of Jerry's singles also had aliens. So I'm
Right.
starting to believe they've made contact many times.
Right, and their Spice World was a globe.
True.
They have a song called Outer Space Girls.
That's true.
In their Spice World tour, it was all themed of like
Like a
UFO.
spaceship, like right. Oh well, in
that
Spice Up Your
arrives.
Life, outer space man, right?
Right. So I mean,
If anybody's made contact,
it's the Spice Girls.
it's and there's 5 of them. One of them has.
No. All 5 of them did.
Oh, because it's a unit.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, got it.
All the power together. So you know what? I had never stopped to realize how many space references there are in like the Spice Girls catalog. Is this hiding in plain view?
I think it is. It's like when you told me that Madonna had the 2 songs that were the same title.
Beautiful, Forbidden Love.
Forbidden Love, and I was like, what?
In your eyes, forbidden love, and then forbidden love.
Right, and I was
just
like
like George Michael has 2 freedoms.
Right.
I don't want your freedom.
Which again, I knew both those songs existed. I just didn't.
Freedom, I won't let you down. Yep, 2 freedoms, 2 forbidden.
Oh Lord. Well, okay. You know what else doesn't let us down?
Okay.
Our people, our Cuban community. Now,
What did we do now?
Well, it's not what we did. It's this. I'm gonna read this. It ties back to something you and I have always said, but I don't want to say it up front because I want to kind of go with it, right? So last week, my sister on Facebook posted a very innocent, very innocuous status update. She literally just, and I have it here, put, "I really miss Walmart being open 24 hours, sad face," right?
Walmart's not open 24 hours?
Apparently, maybe the one by her house is no longer open 24 hours or whatever the case may be, right? Now, we know because of the pandemic, stores have changed their hours, whether it be because they were closed or when the pandemic came back.
The Publix by my house closes at 8 sometimes.
Right. Because they probably realize, you know what, we don't have to stay open as late, and it's a business decision or whatever, right? So, my aunt replies, and I love my aunt.
I love how you're throwing people under the bus.
She's my dad's oldest sister. I love her dearly. But this was her response. No merchandise. No hay nada. Y wait until Christmas. No one wants to work. Thanks to Democrats. The same happened in Cuba 1959. You will see. All because my sister said that she misses Walmart being open 24 hours. Our roads lead to communism.
Well, what have I always said?
I thought of you the second I read it. I was like, this is going on the show. This is going on the show.
I have said this for, I don't know, it's my birthday tomorrow. I'm not saying my age, but for more than 35 years, right? I have been saying, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. You could be talking about Play-Doh.
We could be talking about aliens. Extraterrestrials.
All roads lead to communism.
Yeah.
All roads don't lead to Rome.
No.
They lead to communism. It's always about communism. It's always.
And I just thought that was funny because I was like, that's not the first thing I thought of.
Okay, so
I mean,
a few years ago,
lack of workers.
A few years ago, and we'll answer that directly.
Okay.
A few years ago, I don't know, maybe like, I don't know. It's been more than a few years because when I say a few years, I think 2010.
Which is already 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. Sometime in the 2000s, I don't know if you remember, Tropicana changed their complete logo.
Oh, I do. Yeah, they got rid of the little girl. The Carmen Miranda.
No. This was more recent. Oh. That was older. No, we're talking probably, in the 2010s. They changed the packaging completely. The packaging was a lot more simple. It got rid of like the very like rich Tropicana logo and font. It became the box that Tropicana comes in. It was, imagine it'd be white, and then the corner of it was like a glass of orange juice, and then it kind of folded onto the other corner. And then on the side in a very simple like Helvetica font, it's a Tropicana
in vertical up the side.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
Very simple.
Yes,
I didn't like it. I thought it was actually really.
Right.
That's not. You don't want a modern avant-garde packaging for orange juice, right? I don't know. I didn't study marketing, but fonts are my thing.
That you are big on fonts, yes.
And I was the editor-in-chief of the yearbook.
Yes, you are.
But I don't think you have to have an eye for design and marketing to like kind of.
But I'm sure they went through focus groups and whatever.
Well, clearly focus groups are gone and wrong. And they eventually changed the packaging back, hence the Tropicana we have now. And I think it was one of the most expensive rebrands that failed in like, I don't know, the last 20 years. Whatever. I'm giving you more info than we need. I remember having that juice at my parents' house and me commenting to my mom, ay, qué feo está el paquete nuevo este de Tropicana, no me gusta. She goes, claro que sí. Porque así, eso me recuerda de Cuba. Porque así es como empieza el comunismo. Todo que era bonito, que era familiar, tú sabes, todo esos rayos los vuelve feo. Lo ponen feo y así, feo.
So she thought the communist agenda was to change the branding of Tropicana.
I was like, oh my God.
It's an art. It's an art.
Like,
It is an art
the
and a
packaging
science.
of Tropicana juice ended up being because of communism. Like,
It's an art and a science.
Oh,
Not
no,
everybody
it
can
is.
do it. It's
It
an
is.
art and a
It
science.
is. It's kind of sort of like, I always forget the name of that story or that game. Remember when we were kids in elementary school? Like, all kids do this. Like, I'll tell you, okay, start a story.
Telephone.
Well, is that called telephone? Like, I'm going to the wood. It's nighttime.
Oh, where everybody continues the story,
It's
continues.
nighttime, right?
Okay, yes.
And you know, I'm lost in the woods, and then I see a cave, and there's a light in the cave, and when I come in and see the light,
and then I take over. Okay,
you
right,
go
right.
It's kind of like that, right?
Right.
You could be talking about anything. You know,
They would be great at improv.
you know,
Because talk about the ultimate yes and.
I was at Home Depot today, and you know that I couldn't find la mata de bugambilia that I was looking for. Claro que sí.
no.
Claro que no. Porque eso es el comunismo. Porque aquí viene el comunismo.
Porque los comunistas no les gustan las flores.
No le gustan las flores.
Y la bugambilia es la flor más linda que tuvo en
hay.
Cuba.
En Cuba. Y al momento que los comunistas vinieron, la quitaron.
La quitaron.
Porque
Porque ese era un
odian la
símbolo.
bugambilia.
Ese era un símbolo de la preciosidad de Cuba. Y ellos no podían tolerar eso.
Sí, no.
That's it. And that's it. It's like, but I don't even understand how we got here.
Yes. Well, it's not supposed to make any sense. Right. So that's why I'm telling you, no, it doesn't matter what you're talking about
Right.
to Cubans. Right. It will always go back to communism. You know, I say that as a joke, but
It's a joke because it's only funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Right? It's only funny because it's true.
Yeah.
But I thought that was great. When I read it, I was like, I didn't even think about communism. I did think about, like, okay, la gente que no quieren trabajar, like, because there's still shortage of work. I don't know whether these people are working or not working, but
about that for a minute.
Communism?
Because our motto here is listen, laugh, and learn.
Yes,
and you know, we like for people to have a good time with us, but to pick something up. So, listeners, as you're driving to work today, I'm going to give you a little quick. I was gonna say, what do you call when you take a class really quick? Crash course.
Crash course.
I don't want to use the term crash course because a lot of you are driving.
Yeah, no, a refresher course.
So here's a little refresher course.
Cliff notes.
Cliff notes. I like that.
Yes.
On supply and demand, and particularly the supply and demand chain.
Okay.
Now, many of you are noticing that a lot of our favorite items are not at the store.
I love when you speak like a 1950s instructional video.
Or, because you got to speak this way sometimes to people. Or you're going to places and you're seeing bare shelves.
Right. Or you've started a chicken wing business and you've noticed that
there's no chicken wings. I personally have been trying to find Entenmann's all butter loaf pound cake for like months now, and they're just not coming.
Really?
They're not. I've already gone to like 10 Publixes. I don't know how many frescos. I don't know. And they're like, no, mijito, eso hace como 2 meses no viene.
If I see one, I'll pick one up for you.
Anyway, they have other stuff.
Sí, but the butter pound.
Yeah, their classic one. Anyway, so here's what's going on with the supply and demand chain. Not only in the United States.
Yes, this is global.
But global.
This is global.
Okay. So right now, as we speak on this fake Friday, right, there's anywhere between 50 to 75 cargo ships in the San Diego and LA port.
That are just sitting there.
Why are they sitting there? Because most goods come from Asia. So they cross the Pacific over to the West Coast. So the problem is that these ships, right, have to be, the containers have to be put on trucks. Right. And a ship can have anywhere between 20 to 35,000 containers. That's a lot of containers.
That is a lot of containers.
Right? These containers have to be put on trucks, right? Okay. These trucks take them out of the port, right? Mm-hmm. And then depending on what type of good it is or where it's
perishable or
then
whatever.
It goes to like a main distribution center.
And then it goes
which then goes to a local distribution center, which then goes out to stores. Okay. So think about the whole like spider web there.
Okay.
Right? What is currently happening is it's a perfect trifecta of problems, right? We are ordering and buying more than ever now because the economy has picked up. People have started to go back to work, whether it's because they've started going back to work or through stimulus money. People are ordering things, right? So all this is coming from Asia. The problem is the workforce. And the workforce is not because people are living off stimulus money. Because let's talk about that for a minute. They had 3 stimulus checks, two in the Trump administration, 1 in the Biden administration, and there were additional supplements to unemployment, both federal and state, right? Sure, this money for a lot of people was a lifeline. Right. And sure, some people, if your financial situation wasn't dire, it was like, oh, this is a extra $2,000.
It was nice to get some extra cash.
That I have, that maybe your situation wasn't dire. So it helped out different people in different ways, right? But I think that we can all agree that as great as those stimulus payments were, it does not supply what an actual wage is.
Okay.
Right?
Fair.
What an actual paycheck every 2 weeks is, or
whenever you get paid.
Whenever you get paid, right? That's not why people are not going back to work. In the supply and demand chain in particular, what happened was that a lot of truck drivers, because they weren't working at the initial part of the pandemic, their driver's license or their permits to be truck drivers expired.
Oh.
Right. And to get these permits again, it's like a very lengthy process.
Right.
Coupled with the amount of labor that they need now to train new truck drivers, because a lot of people retired, a lot of people just don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
The amount and because supply is so large now, they need a greater workforce.
So it's not just getting the same 10 people; it's like you need 20.
They did pre-pandemic levels.
Okay.
So it's a matter now of getting all this workforce. The biggest problems the supply and demand chain is having right now is taking the containers off the ships from the ports, because ports are only open from like 9 to 5, right?
Right, they're not 24.
Now the Biden administration passed a measure now to open ports 24 hours a day
to expedite.
Right. But it's a matter of getting more people into work there and getting truck drivers to deliver it. It's workforce from taking out the containers to, most importantly, delivering the containers. Truck drivers. And these truck drivers have to be trained,
have to be certified,
have to pass certification, and have to get a license. And unfortunately, that's a lengthy process.
Right.
And this is not only happening in the United States.
It's global.
This is happening in most and all developed countries. Right? Or first world countries. Right? So I would love to hear from people that say that it's the president's fault, how the president is affecting Canada, or the president is affecting the UK or other European countries or Australia or other nations with big economies.
Same problems.
So, because if Biden has that effect, whoa. So, that, ladies and gentlemen, was a lesson. That was a lesson in supply and demand.
Yes. I mean, I get it. And I will say, I still don't understand why, even if there's a big demand, more demand now, I mean, that's the retail industry, shall we say. But we do know that there's still, they're still having a hard time finding people to work in like restaurants and, and just literally at retail stores. So that's the part that I don't understand. I don't understand where these people, quote unquote, where these people went.
Because a lot of people have transitioned to something else, into working in something else. And also, a lot of perishable goods or things that we eat have been affected by different climate change issues, whether it's fires or floodings.
Right.
California is always on fire.
That's true.
California is one of the places that has the most produce, right?
Yeah, the avocados.
Right. Don't you think that affects where, the prices or the amount of quantity? Every time you see one of these fires in California ravage on for days or sometimes weeks, many times it destroys, obviously it destroys everything in its path, but many times it's farms.
Well, yeah, because it's undeveloped, so it's just
so
it goes up like kindling.
Right. So you know what, your kale is going to go up in price.
Yeah, it's actually funny because when we were in Palm Springs, we were talking to one of the bartenders, and this place that was it was a bar but also had food, and he was talking about all those things. He's like, yeah, all these things that we take for granted now, it's going to start to go up because we're reaching the tail end of the supply that we have. And so it's like, you think avocado toast is expensive now? Wait till the end of the year.
They people in the industry and different people that study the economy economists.
Yeah,
Duh.
they have a name.
They think that this is going to go on through next summer.
And then we'll get cheaper chicken wings again.
Yes. No, just everything.
Yeah.
I actually really noticed the scarcity.
That's
the
a word.
Scarcity
We'll finish the sentence and I'll tell you.
of products when I was actually at Michael's.
Yes, that's
y
the
no había
word.
nada. No había
Yeah,
nada.
no, there's nothing. And you know who's actually being really hurt by this? It's funny, the things you don't think about, but it's like your Marshalls and your Ross. Because there's no surplus inventory to go down to them.
Yeah. Actually, I hadn't thought about that before. Well, I wouldn't know from the lines at Marshall's.
No, the lines will never go away.
You know what's funny about Marshall's is that I've been going to Marshall's or Home Goods for years, for like over 20 years. And I just feel that, and this is not a new store.
No,
this is like
ever.
this is like the Chick-fil-A
Of retail.
retail.
Yeah.
It's like the lines keep getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, okay, are people discovering Marshalls and Home Goods for the first time?
Maybe.
Because it's been around for quite some time. Like I remember when I was like a kid, nosotros íbamos a Machan.
A matcha y
Yeah,
arroz.
matcha.
Y arroz.
We never really were. And till this day, I don't like Ross that much. But nosotros íbamos a Matcha de Midway Mall, the Mall of the Americas.
Oh, yeah.
Ese fue el primer Machan. Y de Hialeah, como dice mi mamá, la primera tienda que yo vine a los Estados Unidos fue el Matcha de Hialeah, which is still open.
Oh, still?
Yeah,
That's
it's
the,
over by my
but that's
office.
the same one.
It's the one on 49th and 16th.
Oh, wow. Dang.
So yes. Supply and demand curve, people.
Hola, mi gente. It's National Hispanic Heritage Month, where we celebrate the contributions and influence of Hispanic Americans to the history, culture, and achievements of the United States.
And this year, we're teaming up with Lay's to celebrate what makes us 100% American and 100% Latino.
Flavors like limon, chile limon, and cheddar jalapeno celebrate the flavors we all know and love with that unmistakable Lay's quality.
So grab your bag of Lay's limon, chile limon, or cheddar jalapeno this Hispanic Heritage Month and enjoy flavors that celebrate who we are.
After all, we all know you gotta have Lay's.
Pero do it con sabor.
Hey, mi gente, so Ish here, and I am with Mika Leon, the owner, chef, mastermind behind Caja Caliente. Thank you for joining us, Mika. I know you're a busy lady. You're actually joining us from Europe.
I am. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited, to be collaborating with you guys for this Hispanic Heritage Month, which is obviously so important to us here at Caja Caliente.
Yeah, and as you said, Hispanic Heritage Month, we're partnering with Lay's, and we're spotlighting people like yourself, who are really creating foods that, like Lay's Limon and Jalapeno, are 100% Latino and 100% American. And so let's talk a little bit about, I know this week we were making mahi tacos with your mom. So what is the inspiration behind these mahi tacos? Because, when I think mahi, I think very Hawaiian, but tacos, very Mexican. It's it's the epitome, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's the theme of Caja. It's very much a fusion of foods that I grew up eating. I grew up eating tacos. I was very inspired by the food trucks on the West Coast, all the taco food trucks that I would go, visit with my mom. And my grandfather had restaurants, and my mom had a catering company growing up. And I told my mom one day, I'm like, Mommy, what do you think if we took like all our Cuban recipes and we put it in the vessel of a taco? She thought I was crazy, but it kind of just evolved and became a thing over time. But again, I think it just goes to, what I grew up eating, and I really wanted to create a fusion of different cultures.
Now, when you say a fusion, like how do you achieve that in your dishes?
Yeah, let's say one of my dishes alone, it's bolita de plátano relleno con picadillo. So I kind of learned this from my very good friend Julio Margarita. I do it with a Puerto Rican sofrito, which you're basically blending your sofrito, and it kind of looks like a chimichurri. So you have a little bit of Puerto Rican, you have Spanish, being that, I'm so close to my roots in Spain and my family that lived here for so many years. Mm-hmm. Whether it be Mexican or Cuban. So that's, I think, where the fusion really does tie in. And you see that us playing around with different flavors when you do look at the menu.
That's so funny because it's like, obviously the whole theme here is 100% American, 100% Latino, but I'm starting to think it should be 100% American, 25% Cuban, 25% Puerto Rican, 25% Mexican, 25% Spanish with you. There's a nice little blend of everything.
It's a little bit of everything, and isn't that what Miami is at the end of the day? It's a melting pot of cultures.
That's true, and that's really, one of the big celebrations of Hispanic heritage is that it's not just, even though it is the word Hispanic, it's not a monolith, right? And so there are so many, particularities to our dishes, and I think it's fantastic that you're able to really take a little bit from each culture and make it into something new and fresh, that really combines them all together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we don't, if we really were to sit down and to kind of analyze all of the Hispanic cuisines, it kind of comes from the same place, right? We just kind of made it our own with what we have readily available, but it's all, our own take on different dishes. That's the way I like to look at it, kind of put my own little mark on it if I can.
Absolutely. And I think you definitely have done that with Caja Caliente. You offer, like you said, a blend of so many things, including, I have to say, a gator taco, which I don't think that could be any more Florida inspired if it tried.
Yeah. And then we're going into the Miami, 305. What's more Miami than gator? Like the Everglades. I got a lot of my inspiration from my travels, and I went down to the Everglades one weekend, and I was like, gator nuggets? I was like, what is this? And I was like, this would be amazing in a taco. It's local. It's locally sourced. So that's another thing. Not just my culture, but my travels really inspire me when I go to create new dishes.
Absolutely, as it should. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mika. I mean, I've said this before. Caja Caliente is literally like down the street from me. So I am always at Caja Caliente, and there's a reason for it. It's because everything you make there is absolutely delicious.
Thank you.
But thank you for joining us, for Hispanic Heritage Month here with Lay's. And, as we've always said, it's 100% American, 100% Latino. It's all about taste, right? But I think Lay's put it the best, when you got to have Lay's, pero do it con sabor.
I love it.
Yes. So actually, before we get into any other topics, I just want to take a break and wish you happy birthday.
Oh, yes. It's my birthday.
It is your birthday. Well, it's your birthday when people are listening to this premiere on Pero Friday.
It is my birthday.
Yes. So
I turned
happy birthday.
27.
Wow, it's amazing. You turned 27 and I'm going bald.
Bueno. Whether I turn 27, 37, 47, or 57, my genes are my genes.
That's true.
And besides, you're going baldy a culpa tuya. Because when you were in your 20s and you started thinning, I told you, get Rogaine. You could save your hair, but you didn't listen to me.
I don't care.
Yes, you do care.
No, I really don't. I used to. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with it.
Right, because it's your reality now. But at 22, you had time to fix it.
Meh, I'm cool with it. I have great shoulders and a nice ass.
You know how I feel about hair.
Yes, rapala.
Yes, but so yeah, my birthday this year. Let's not talk about my birthday.
Okay.
No, it's a hard one this year.
Okay. But can I ask you to please regale the story you told me earlier about your mother and birthday cake?
Okay, no, this I will definitely share. Okay,
because this is classic.
I would definitely
this is
share.
Classic.
Hello, listeners. No, I mentioned it was. So
I know it's a hard one, but
I always get a little depressed right before my birthday.
Yes, we've talked about this before. Yeah.
It's like depression before your birthday. This year is very hard because, as you know, many of you will know, I lost my grandmother this year. So right now, I'm in the stage of firsts.
Yeah.
Your first holiday, your first birthday, your first Christmas, your first Thanksgiving. And my grandmother and I had a very nice tradition that I've never, even when I was a kid, I never went to school on my birthday. And when I was an adult, I would not work on my birthday. Like, to me, my birthday was sacred. I don't want to be worrying about
holiday,
I don't want to be worrying about other people's shit. Like, it's my birthday. And I would always go to McDonald's just to have breakfast with my grandmother and my dad because my mom was working and whatever. Not that my dad didn't work, but that worked.
That worked at night. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
anyway,
Yeah.
So that's why. But okay, so my birthday, my mom, and the cake. So my mom calls me earlier today ay, Darien, ay, estoy loca. No sé el cake que tú quieres. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. And I'm like, ¿de qué cake tú hablas, mamá? And he's like, no, porque yo sé que a ti te gusta el cake ese de la mujer que hace los cakes ricos de las bodas. Cake designed by Etta. Right. That's been around for about, 1,000 years. Y a ti te gusta el de strawberry, de fresa. And I'm like, Mom, you're getting a lot of things mixed up. Yes, it is true that I like cake design. Right. Like that cake design or Lucila by Etta or Lucila. Remember that? That was all the rage in the early
cakes,
2000s.
Yes.
And it's so good.
They're still good.
I got a phase that I got a little sick of it because it was like, I feel that when that cake became popular in Miami,
everybody had it. For everything.
Like
and a random ass Wednesday.
And I
just would bring it. Yeah.
Boom. If somebody's birthday, I may comprar un cake de Lucila.
Yeah.
When they started selling it in the supermarket.
They do, yeah. They sell it in the supermarket. Yeah.
So I got a little fatigue of it, but I love it because it's like a rich, moist cake.
It's like a rum cake.
Yeah, and then it's like a sugary buttercream. Like,
yeah, it's good cake. Both of them.
But that cake has never, ever, ever, ever come in strawberry flavor, nor have I ever ordered it in strawberry flavor, right? Never.
It's not a thing.
So I don't know where she got this from. So I tell my mom, listen, just get me a Publix cake. Right? Just make sure it's made to order because I do not like the Publix cakes that they have in the refrigerator. Right. I like them made to order so they're fresh. And I told them, just get I'm quick. I'm like, a quarter sheet cake, half vanilla, half chocolate.
The boy knows what he wants.
Buttercream. And my mom's like, ¿Y desde cuándo a ti te gustan los cakes de Publix? Now, mind you, if you know me, you know I am a few things.
They're right. This is the Darien resume.
I am the Yankees, Full House, Mariah Carey. What else?
James Bond,
stadiums,
cruise liners,
ocean liners. And Publix cake. Like that is who I am.
That's like if they were gonna do like some type of like abstract drawing of you and just had those things, I'd know who they were talking about.
Right. Like that's and I've always been very vocal about it. Right. It's not like it's. I mean, I'm sure what are we, episode 178?
Yeah.
I know
there are probably listeners
episodes where we have talked.
There are probably listeners out there who would be like, I could send you a Publix cake. I know you love
Publix
it.
Cake.
Right.
And it's nothing odd, right? It's not like I'm odd. Anybody that grew up with a Publix, it's very common to have that love for Publix cake. Right. If you look at all my pictures from all my birthdays, in the last 30 some years, they all have Publix cake, right? So this is nothing new. And she tells me this like, oh,
like she just met you.
But the reason why this is funny or funnier is because during my Michigan years, I would always fly back from Michigan at the end of term. So I would usually fly back to Miami 3 times a year, right? And whenever I would fly back, my mom would always be, my parents would always be like, oh, what do you want us to get you to have here?
Right, because, you're in Michigan, so it's like croquetas, pastelitos, and
I've said it. When I lived in Michigan, I loved living in Michigan. There were things about Michigan that I loved. What I missed the most was Publix. Like, I could not fuck Kroger. Like, Kroger doesn't even, like whoever says that Kroger is better than Publix, I don't know.
Well, there's one sponsorship we won't be getting.
We love Kroger. It's the largest supermarket.
It's too late now.
Or Myers. I loved Myers. If you're from Michigan, you know what Myers is. I loved Myers, but nothing was as good as Publix. So when I would be coming home, my mom would always tell me like, "Oh, what is it that you want me to get you?" I'm like, get me Publix cake. Right. My whole Publix cake thing has been such a big deal that you one year sent me you brought up a huge piece of Publix cake. Like, and I didn't even ask you for it. You just knew, right?
It's just
you came to visit me and you brought this enormous
trozo de
Publix cake, like Tupper. And I think that like the moment you gave it to me, we just sat there and ate it.
Yes,
right?
It's because you had to.
Yes, right. So this is like a known fact, and this is my mother, right? So during the Michigan years, when I would come home, my mom would get me anything and everything from the bakery except a Publix cake.
It was great.
It
was a running joke.
One year, a wreath from the bakery, some wreath that they made that was like
decorated for Christmas,
right? One year, she got me corn muffins. And when she gave me the corn muffins, she's like, "I know this is not what you want, but I just don't know what it is that you want from the bakery." I'm like, what is wrong with this woman?
That is my favorite part of the story
gave me
because she
corn
knew it was wrong.
Yes.
But she still bought it.
Yes. And you know what I think is incredible about the Publix cake dilemma? Is that
Wasn't she the one who would buy you the Publix
yes,
cake?
especially when I was younger, she would be the one who would buy me the cake. And it's not like, my mom is that old, right? You know what I mean?
No, man, she's not like a dementia. Que estaba
and
like
during
mal. Like,
my
yeah.
Michigan year, she was in her 50s,
Yeah.
So today, she's like, ay, a ti te gusta, y dije, ¿cuándo a ti te gusta que de polio? I'm like, I don't know, since my birthday,
Every year.
And it's like one of these jokes now that, that's why when I told you about it, I'm like, I'm not mad.
Oh, no, it's great. And it's fodder for the show.
I'm not mad. So I texted them. I gave them a picture because they wanted to get me the cake. Okay. So I went on Publix.com and I browsed through their cake designs and I did a screenshot of the cake that I wanted. I sent it on WhatsApp. I told them, order a quarter sheet cake with this design, half vanilla, half chocolate with buttercream. Vamos a ver lo que viene mañana.
You know I'm
Viene
excited.
un brazo gitano.
You know I'm super...
Tú verás que me van a dar un brazo gitano con la almendra y dos cappuccino arriba.
I am very excited to see what shows up.
Yes.
Like, I know you're going to be at your parents' house at like around 7-ish, so I fully expect by 7:30 to, at the latest, get a text with what showed up.
Yeah. Get ready because I'm getting un tres leche. I expect, I don't know, una torreja with a candle on it.
Un pudín diplomático.
Un pudín diplomático. But
Not the cake you want.
The standard buttercream cake, half vanilla, half chocolate, right?
That you can, like, let's say they don't order it. They can just
because
pull it out of
it's
the
like- it's like,
refrigerator.
I don't even ask for one of Publix specialty cakes.
No,
right?
no.
Because let's say that, she knows I really like the chocolate decadence, right?
Right.
Or the raspberry.
The chantilly
right,
or whatever.
Right. And they get me the regular cake because, oh, no, he likes Publix cake,
Right.
right? No. Like, I want the basic Publix cake.
You want the pumpkin spice latte of Publix cakes.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
They can't get it right. So, yeah.
It's great.
I'm probably getting un pudín diplomático mañana.
I'm telling you, by 7:30, I expect a picture at the latest.
If they come over with the correct cake, see, I even told my dad, I'm just like, give the phone to the person at Publix because
tell them.
they were adamant about getting me the cake. I'm like, okay,
Fine.
I'm like, I am sending you all the directions on WhatsApp. When you get to the bakery, don't speak. Just go to the message and tell them this is what I want. Give them the phone in their hand so they can see. Don't give any comments. Don't say anything.
Pretend you're Helen Keller.
Just tell them, this is what, esto es lo que yo quiero. Here you go. Picture, description.
Done.
Because if you say something.
La van a meter la pata. Yes. Van a meter la pata. The minute that they say something, you're going to wind up with a cornbread birthday cake.
Oh, let's see what we get. Or maybe they'll get it partly right, pero van a poner, I don't know, piña in the middle, like in the
some type of weird filling.
Yeah. So, anyway. Okay, so I actually want to talk about something that's been really a hot topic this week, which is the Dave Chappelle comedy special on Netflix.
Which we just saw, actually.
We just saw it, and we saw it for research.
Yeah, we actually did. Does this mean that you can claim Netflix as a deduction?
Well, your dad is a tax person.
I will put it on there, yes.
So, so for those of you who have been under a rock this week, Netflix released, was it last week?
Within the last week or so.
The latest Dave Chappelle stand-up comedy special called...
I think it's the closer, because it's his last one.
Called The Closer. And this is the final comedy special in a series of comedy specials that he has released with Netflix in the last few years. Now, all his comedy specials gather a certain amount of controversy.
Yeah.
All of them, from the very first one
because he just says what's on his mind, literally.
to
like
the one now. And I feel that as society continues to evolve, and both we become accepting of more things, and cancel culture grows because it's both.
It's happening in tandem,
right?
Yeah.
You know, we are becoming more accepting,
but as a result of that,
right? We are accepting things more, and we are embracing different people. I don't even want to say different, but just all people. More, but at the same time, cancel culture is a real thing,
right?
and this is something that's rapidly, in 3-4 years,
It's exploded.
grows leaps and bounds. Because I think his last special was maybe 2-3 years ago. I saw it. I see all of it.
Well, it was before COVID, so
Right.
So
So,
2
it was
years
like
ago.
2-3 years
Yeah.
ago. So it's gotten a lot of backlash, and a lot of people do want Netflix to pull the special and to cancel him. Although this was his last
so
contractual show with Netflix.
he's done.
In the show, he makes transphobic jokes.
Yeah.
Or jokes that are transphobic. Definitely hits the gays.
Yes, he does.
And the whites.
Yes.
And women.
Yeah.
He's an equal opportunity offender.
Yeah, except he doesn't really hit. He at least in this special, he doesn't really hit men as much. But I wonder if that's by design, just because this was his. I'm going to address the things I've been accused of being.
Right. Because
So-
this special, the closer.
Sorry, when I say men, I mean like cisgendered straight men.
in this special, the format of his set was kind of talking about what he has been criticized in the past, and obviously making a whole comedic story and
Yeah, like
set
all
about
comedians
it.
taking his life and turning it into an act.
So he makes some very, very, very straight shots at the gay community. I feel that with the gay community, he was he was unapologetic about gay jokes or commentary on the gay community. I feel that with the trans jokes, while potentially disturbing and offensive,
There were some low blows.
I feel he was trying to explain himself a little bit more.
It just didn't come off
Especially with the story of
his
Daphne.
Yeah, of his friend.
I think he was trying to humanize himself a little bit
To show where he's coming from.
with the trans jokes.
Right.
So what do we think?
So it's funny because I actually told you before, I was like, I don't really watch stand-up specials. It's just not a thing that I do. I mean, I've seen them. I may watch them if it's on TV and I'm flipping, or if I'm here at your house and you're watching it, or Jose's watching it. I'll watch it and I'll chuckle and whatever. I have to say, I did laugh. Several times during his set. I mean, there were things that were funny. There were things that I laughed at that probably I shouldn't have laughed at. But I think there were parts of it where, particularly when he was talking about, the whole gay, the gay jokes, there were some things that I laughed at just because I found to use a British term, I was taking the piss out of it. I was looking at it from the perspective of when he starts talking about glory holes and things like that, I just started laughing because I'm laughing, but from a place of yes, that's a part, that's the underbelly of gay culture that people don't talk about and things like that. So I found that part, funny, relatable in a weird way. So I did laugh. I do think that when it came to the trans things, I agree with what you're saying. I think his goal or his intent was to explain where he's coming from with his past jokes. I just don't think the execution was good.
Okay, how? Because he obviously, specifically the trans jokes, he made several trans jokes throughout the show.
But I'm talking about the section.
The bulk of it,
the section,
which was the last section, he did it through the story of Daphne.
Yes, but before he got to the story of Daphne, I think that's my thing, is before he got to the story of Daphne, there was a lot of, I'll use the example of the bathroom thing. And this is what I say, but the execution is wrong. He started off by saying, the North Carolina bathroom bill, and you have to go to the bathroom. That's your gender assigned at birth and whatever. And some people started clapping at that, and he's like, "No, that's a mean law. No, that law is wrong." So you're like, okay, I'm on board, right? We're here. But then he goes into the whole thing of how oh, but what if I'm at a bathroom and then this beautiful woman walks in and she pulls out her dick and starts peeing and that's just so weird and wacky and blah blah blah. And because this is the thing, my first thought was if a trans woman was to walk into a men's room, she would not use a urinal. Chances are. Right. Again, I'm not a trans woman. Don't please, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that the even just from a societal, like, let me not draw attention to myself perspective, she would go into a stall and use the stall. So a lot of his jokes still traded on this old stereotype of, it's of not transgender, but, chicks with dicks. You know what I mean? Like the other of it, I'm gonna use the word novelty, but like, the whole like, wow, that's so wacky of it. And that does not come across as someone who understands. Now, you can make the argument that he's a comedian and he's trying to just make a joke and whatever. And I can appreciate that frame of mind. But then when he juxtaposes it with the story of Daphne, where, he's telling the story of this woman who is trans, and he used the proper pronouns the entire time. So it's not like he, misgendered her or anything like that. It just seems a little like, okay, but are you telling this story to show us that you do have a soft spotting, you're not transphobic? Are you using this, this poor woman who's no longer with us as a story just to like promote yourself? Is it really who you are? And it had so much heart, but it didn't mesh with the way that he was treating the topic earlier. Okay. Which is why I'm saying like it didn't coalesce for me.
So,
and even the gay things, he had some very, very good points where he starts talking about like, how, you can be gay and be racist, and how it's not the same thing to be a white gay person as a minority gay person.
So let me ask you this.
There was a lot of mesh.
Do you think that Netflix should pull it?
No.
And you probably don't think he should be canceled?
Well, you know how I feel about cancel culture. I don't think that anybody should, quote unquote, be canceled. I think you should call people out for what you disagree with. If you disagree with what they're doing and what they're saying, call them, what you believe they are. But, I don't think that, I just don't believe in cancel culture. I think what cancel culture does is it removes the opportunity for learning and change. And something that he touches on this very quickly, but we've talked about it, is, when Kevin Hart was given the opportunity of hosting the Oscars and they then said no thank you because of something that he had said years before and already apologized for. And Kevin Hart basically said, like, look, I'm not just going to keep apologizing when I've already apologized. At what point do you believe me? That that I have changed and that I have grown as a person. If you're going to still keep holding something over my head after I've told you I've seen the error of my ways, at a certain point you have to just kind of believe me, especially if my actions have not demonstrated that same behavior, right? So I don't believe in cancel culture, because cancel culture to me, what it suggests or what it promotes is the negation of anybody having the capacity to change and learn. Very well said. So that's...
I think you deserve a last soda for that. So, I have a lot to say.
And I don't think they should pull it off Netflix, just because if they're going to pull everything off Netflix that somebody disagrees with, I
have a lot to say. I think his routine was very problematic.
That's the word I was looking for. Problematic.
I especially think the whole thing with the trans jokes, the one that kind of really sort of upset me was the J.K. Rowling one. Mm-hmm. Because J.K. Rowling, my problem with her is that she made these comments about, I think, trans women in particular. And she got called out on it.
All right.
And instead of either shutting up or saying, hey,
I will do my research,
whatever.
Right.
She doubled down. Right. And sometimes, it's one of these things that, like, something somebody says is you understand what they're trying to say, but the execution, again, what you were saying, execution was wrong. And I think that may have been what she was saying earlier, not to defend her in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
But when she doubled down, I was like, no. You lost me.
You weren't misinterpreted. You weren't misquoted.
This was the opportunity for you to say,
to clarify.
I'm listening to what you're saying,
right?
And I understand what you're saying. This is actually what I meant, but I understand how this could be offensive or problematic or whatever. I'm not a trans woman, so I don't know what it's like to walk in the shoes of a trans woman. So I do think that it is very problematic, especially the trans jokes. I think that the candor in which Dave Chappelle does his comedy, it's either you like it or you don't. Even you and I watching it, we were kind of like, oh my God, did he just say that?
There were moments where we were like, wow, I can't believe he just said that.
Because like in this day and age that people are so careful and so measured with what they say, and anything can cancel you and anything can be blown out of context. It's like, I'm like, oh, did he just say that? Like, it was a little bit uncomfortable. Like
it was,
in certain areas. And I think that he's always been that way.
Yeah, this isn't new.
Right. So I think that you either like his comedy or you don't. And if you don't like his comedy, then don't watch it. Right? He's always said really messed up things. Always. It's just that we have a really short attention span.
Yeah.
Right?
Our memory is what it is, yeah.
I'm with you there on cancel culture. I don't believe in cancel culture. Are there people that deserve to be canceled? Yes. Are there people that maliciously say things that I have no time to listen to?
Yes.
Not only what they said or even what they're coming back and apologizing for.
Right.
Absolutely. But on the most part, I don't agree with cancel culture either.
I think we're just very quick to be like, oh, you said one wrong thing, bye.
Right. What I took away from the show, and this I do agree with. I think that what he was saying, and that's not to say that he said very offensive and very problematic things, and I certainly understand
why people are upset.
Yeah. And there is there is very much validation to why people are upset. But what I gathered from the show as a totality, is that whether you are gay, whether you're a woman, or whether you're a trans man or woman, none of that is harder than being a black person.
That was his underlying...
Right. So if you are a black person, it's harder. Now if you're a black gay person or a black
trans person,
woman or a black trans person, now you've added an extra layer. Right. But we're talking about in terms of black and white, that a white gay man, as hard as it could be and as rejected as you could be, and
I'm not taking away from
tortured, and nobody's taking away from your gay bash. And look, just the other day it was the anniversary of Matthew Shepard. It's just terrible thing. That as terrible as that could be, as terrible as misogyny could be, in the case of women, and everything women have, transphobia is. Being black in America, at least, is so much worse, because that is what people first see, right? When you're a white gay person and you walk into a room, people see white man first, right? So on and so forth. That is kind of what I took from it. That
was his intent,
right? That, and one of the things that he said that there I did agree with him was the whole thing with Caitlyn Jenner. That he's like, Caitlyn Jenner, we have Caitlyn Jenner, and all of a sudden Caitlyn Jenner is, the face of the trans community. And it's like, but what about Marsha
P. Johnson?
Right, who was this trans woman in the 70s, 60s, who pretty much started the Stonewall riot, which led to the Pride movement in the U.S., right? Usually people that know who Marsha P. Johnson is are people within the gay community, or historians or stuff like that. Right. But your run-of-the-mill average person doesn't. Right. So why is Caitlyn Jenner getting all the glory? Right. And being the face of this community that has had so many pioneers prior to Caitlyn Jenner who have been of color. Right. In a case like that, he does have a point. So I think that you have to listen with an open mind. Now, yes, it is very offensive. It is very offensive.
He says things that are offensive. And again, your mileage may vary on the jokes.
And I gasped several times. I was like, oh my God. So this is certainly not for everybody.
No.
But I think that is what I took away from it.
Let me ask you a question and kind of combine a few things here. So he's getting a lot of flack for the special, rightfully so. Again, if you feel offended by the things he said, you should hold him to it, right? Take him to task. We last weekend also we went to the Night Owl Drive-In and saw the Madame X documentary, or concert film, or whatever Madonna wants to call it.
She won't call it a concert.
She won't call it a concert film. She'll probably call it like music for the eyes.
No. Performance art.
Performance art on celluloid. She had an entire segment where she sat with Dave Chappelle, actually, because he was in the audience, and she did a whole back and forth about like, oh, Dave Chappelle, you're so great, and this and that, and blah blah blah, what have you. And for this entire tour, Madonna, per what she has said, was inspired by the writing of James Baldwin. Now, for those who don't know, James Baldwin was a writer. I think he passed away. I'm pretty sure he passed away. Was a black writer, but he was also a queer black writer. And I'm going to use the word queer because I don't recall right now if he was gay or bisexual. So I'm going to go with queer. And she at one point even said like, oh, Dave, I keep telling him he's the new James Baldwin, but he just doesn't want to take the title. And having seen that, and having seen it done by Madonna, who is, she's like, quote unquote, the queen of the LGBT, ally movement, right? Because Madonna's been about the gays since before, it was a thing, right? To see her, you have Dave Chappelle, extol his virtues or whatever, compare him to a gay or queer man, and yet have this whole backlash happening. I can't wrap my head around all of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I actually thought about that too. I think
there's so many
timing.
That's what I'm saying. But there's so many things happening at the same time.
While Dave Chappelle has had a history of making transphobic jokes, right now it's at like
zenith. Yeah.
Right. So I wonder if her documentary would have come out 2 weeks later.
She would have edited that out.
She would have edited that out. I actually did think about that. I would say that, her whole thing about artists are here to disturb the peace, I see that sort of the antithesis of Dave Chappelle in a way, because I think artists are there to disturb the peace as an advancement of something or of a cause. And I don't think that Dave Chappelle's comments are necessarily the advancement of a cause.
Yeah.
If only, free speech, if you will.
Yeah, but that's anybody.
Right. But I don't think that his jokes are to advance a cause.
Well, I don't even agree with her. Their artists are here to disturb the peace. I'm more of the belief that artists are here to disturb the status quo.
Well, but the status quo is the peace.
But you can make the argument that somebody's disturbing the peace. Everybody, todo mundo está bien, y aquí viene este para joder. But the status quo could be negative or positive. Peace has a positive connotation.
I see what you're saying, but I sort of see it the same. I agree. I sort of agree with that logic in terms of art, because art moves you, and art makes you ask questions and think, and art can be very provocative, and
and art can also just be frivolous and fun.
Yeah,
like it can be all things. So
I'm not an Andy Warhol fan, and I'm
but I'm okay with Warhol, but I love Lichtenstein.
See, I do too, because of you.
I love Lichtenstein. I do. I just think there's something about the fact that he took, the stippling process and just blew it up, and it's just, it's gorgeous as far as I'm concerned. Performance art is very hit or miss with me, because I don't usually get it.
I usually think it's ridiculous. It's just.
Yeah, when we're talking performance art, we're not talking like a dance.
No.
We're not talking like an interpretive dance or anything like that. We're talking about Tilda Swinton in a box. Yoko Ono screaming into a microphone. Right. These are things that we're talking about. Yes.
But I did think about that whole Madonna thing.
But it's interesting because even still with this documentary, it's not like he doesn't have a history of being accused of being homophobic, transphobic, etc. And again, we're talking about Madonna, who, love or hate her, feel indifferent. I think we can all agree that she has never shied away from embracing the gay community from the beginning.
Yeah, but he is, in the comedy world, he is very respected, Dave Chappelle.
Oh no, he's up there. Yeah.
As he said, the GOAT. I mean, I don't know if he's the greatest of all time, but
But that title changes with the times too.
yeah, and comedy is like everything else; it's very subjective. Like for example, I love black comedians. Like I love the kings of comedy.
Yeah.
But you know who I don't care for? I don't care for Eddie Murphy.
Really?
No, doing stand up, I don't care for it. Like I've seen Raw.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be one of the most famous
stand-up specials
stand-ups of all time. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm not taking,
but just didn't do it for you.
Didn't do it for me. Mira, I've said this before. One of the funniest comedians that everybody freaking pees in their pants over when he was at the height of his success. He freaking sold out Madison Square Garden in like 20 nights, and I don't think he's for me. I don't think he's funny at all. Is Dane Cook?
Oh, Dane Cook.
I don't find Dane Cook funny at all. You don't find Jimmy Fallon funny. I think he's a hoot.
I don't get it.
Mira, I'm not a big Seinfeld fan. And I know that I'm in the minority. Like,
humor is subjective.
I know I'm in the minority. I know that that's not the case.
Right.
That's not the type of comedy that I like. I hate this to make this about race, but that's very white comedy.
It is very white comedy. Yeah.
That's not to say it hasn't had funny moments.
Right. But there's
things that I see from Seinfeld that I go, oh, that's funny. But that's not generally the comedy I go for.
Right.
But
Yeah, no, it's we're not going to solve this.
we love Neri Sanchez.
We love Neri Sands.
Fellow,
we love Neri Sands.
I said Sanchez.
You said Sanchez. Oh, yeah, you and last names. This time it was Sanchez. Last week it was Pierce Brosnan when it's Pierce.
Yeah.
Going
I've
through
had a long day. The Publix cake. Actually, it's funny that Neri said recently or whatever that he put in his. It went viral. The whole thing with Nicaragua and the food.
Oh, and that you're not Mexican.
Right? That he was saying that when he tells people that he's from Nicaragua, people are like, bro, fritanga, bro, fried cheese. And I find that with Nicaragua, that is very true. Oh, yeah, because, like, for example, and he said it, and it's true, like Miami, predominantly Cuban.
Right.
Cuban food everywhere. When you say you're Cuban, people are not like, oh, it's croqueta or oh,
pastelito. Yeah.
No, but it's true that when somebody says you're, especially like Nicaraguan, it's like, oh, la fritanga.
Yeah, for us, they just say mojito.
Not even like. And what I find weird is that people here say that. I could understand if you're, in Anglo, in Ohio,
in Nebraska,
and being like, oh, fritanga.
The fritanga.
Or that fried cheese you fellows do. But here, that we're such a mesh.
Of all these Latino cultures.
Right. Yeah. And people are like very much like, see that fritanga. And I'm like, he hit the nail on the head. Well, that's why I became viral.
Which, speaking of, guys, just because today is the last day of Hispanic Heritage Month does not mean that we stop acknowledging Hispanics. Say no to Hispanic invisibility.
Okay.
Just gonna put that out there.
Okay, so Dave Chappelle. If you like him, watch him. If you don't like him,
if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Him. If you want to protest.
Look, like I said, I laughed at certain things in the special, but if I'm always of the mind that if you feel that strongly about something, call it out. Protest with your dollars. Protest. What was it that? Who was it that one gym? Was it Equinox that was called out and people were like, oh, you should cancel Equinox or whatever. And I'm like, look, if you feel that strongly about it, cancel your membership. Knock yourself out. Like, just don't go there. Vote with your wallets.
Don't go.
Don't go. Some
people don't go to KFC.
Some people don't go to Chick-fil-A.
Some people don't go to Hobby Lobby.
Exactly. Wow. It's a lot of extreme Christian businesses we're talking about here.
But the thing is, the reason I bring that up is because while there's some corporate entities that are more like outspoken,
like your Chick-fil-A's and Hobby Lobbies,
right, than others, historically, I mean, there's just a list of all these corporate entities. It's like, don't go because of this and don't go because of that. And,
right.
If you feel strongly against something that the corporation is doing, then, as you said, you
vote with your wallet. Yeah. Don't buy them. Don't go there. Yeah.
Go to Pollo Ranchero, Pollo Campero.
I'm hungry.
Me too. So, anyway.
So, since we're hungry, should we get to our last sodas?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to go first?
I want to go first.
Dale.
Okay. So, my last soda this week
Lord, como empieza así.
goes to. Okay, so this week, William Shatner went to space.
Yes.
Okay,
How awesome that we live long enough to see Captain Kirk actually go to space.
I don't give a fucking shit.
No?
No, I'm nothing against William Shatner.
Okay, no. But I love that aspect of it. That's what I feel like cool about.
I still don't know why they stopped programming on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever the hell he went up there, to show another white rich person going into space for 5 minutes.
Okay, but it's Captain Kirk going to space,
Okay.
dude.
Is it Darth Vader? If Darth Vader would have been going to space, on the Millennium Falcon, then I want to see it.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool that,
Again,
William
it's nothing
Shatner went to
against
space.
him. It's nothing against him personally, but like I think this whole white man, rich white man going to space on a dick, race is just so out of touch and so
I agree with you.
Not,
I agree with you.
Not relatable to the times we're living right now. We started the show with like all these expensive food prices and
Distribution problems.
And here are these like mega rich guys, Jeff Bezos and William Branson, and now William Shatner. Richard Branson. See, I messed up another name. Going to space because, we're going to space. That's why I was like, are they doing scientific research? Like, is there a bigger reason for you going?
Okay, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, we're talking about a 90-year-old man who was Captain Kirk, and he's actually gone into space now. Okay. That's cool.
For a whole 5 minutes.
Listen, I haven't been to space for 5 minutes.
Where
were you going with this?
I'm giving my last soda. Although William Shatner went to space this week, I'm giving my last soda to George.
George Takei?
Yes, to George Takei.
Okay, what did Mr.
Did
Takei?
you know that there's beef between the two of them?
Oh, for years.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he said about this?
No.
Okay. I have to.
Yeah, I mean, I know they haven't been exactly BFFs for
So
years.
he said, George Takei, of William Shatner going to space. He's a guinea pig, 90 years old, and it's important to find out what happens. So he's 90 years old, going to show a great deal more on the wear and tear on the human body. So he'll be a good specimen to study. Although he's not the fittest 90 specimen of 90 years old, so he'll be the perfect specimen that's unfit. That's pretty.
Le dijo gordo y viejo.
That's pretty. Yeah, although he's not the fittest specimen of 90 years old, so he'll be a specimen that's unfit.
I think he looks good for 90.
That's no, he does actually, but that's some shade.
Oh no, yeah, George Takei. George Takei is a shade queen.
Well, yes, but this is personal.
No, right. But I was saying, just in general, George Takei knows how to throw some good shade.
But this is personal. Why is there beef between the two of them?
You know that I really don't know.
Because I read like 2 or 3 articles, and I was waiting for the bottom of the article being like, Takei and Shatner
since 1980,
because Shatner, blah 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 blah.
Right.
But I didn't find any. You don't know?
I don't really know. I think it just comes down to like Shatner's ego sort of thing.
But was he like, I don't know, was he an egocentric son of a bitch?
I mean, probably to the extent that he was the star of Star Trek, and Takei probably felt the brunt of that.
Well, he would have affairs with all the
with all the alien women, with all the extraterrestrial women.
Yes,
we don't want to upset Demi.
Right, but they are extraterrestrial, so they're not necessarily on the binary.
That's true. All these extraterrestrial species.
Terrestrials.
Terrestrial. This is so complicated. I don't know. Some of them are green. Okay, that's all I know.
Assume that something that's an extraterrestrial would be bound by the gender binary, that we are bound.
You know what? You're absolutely right. It's because I cannot see past my own experiences.
Right, because gender binary is a construct, a social construct, and we're assuming that an extraterrestrial life will have the same social construct or social makeup that we have here on Earth.
You are absolutely right.
So that's very humanist for us to think that.
Oh, that's another thing I have to be worried about being now. A humanist?
Stop promoting your humanist agenda.
Oh, you know me and my humanisms.
So George Takei, this soda's for you.
All right. Well, my last soda, I'll keep it short and sweet, goes to the Red Table Talk with the Estefans.
See.
They just came back last week. Their first episode was actually fantastic because it was all about educating about what happened in Cuba on July 11th. and I thought that was great because, obviously Gloria has always been our best representative in the world as far as the Cuban community.
Although some in the Cuban community think that she's una comunista también.
Pero bueno, that's because whatever, we can't have nice things. But I love that she's taking her platform, and showing the world, look, this is what happened. This is what Cuba's all about. This is the reality of Cuba. Lily told her story of how she came from Cuba, and Emilio told his story. They had Laz Alonso. They had, I can't remember the name of the artist.
Is all on Facebook.
It's Facebook Watch, yes.
And you have to be in Facebook to watch it?
Well, so through Facebook Watch, but now they also, what they've done, at least for the first season, is they've taken all of the videos and turned it to audio, and it's a podcast as well. So they're expanding the reach. And then this week's episode, which I haven't seen yet, but what I also love was they this week they're talking about colorism within the Latino community, and they have Amara La Negra.
Oh, okay.
And so I really just love the fact that she could have just done another, like, we're a family and we're going to talk about things, but she's really tailoring it to the Latino experience, and all the facets of what that is. And, in the case of, for instance, the one with Cuba, really just educating people.
So are you giving the soda to the Estefans or the table?
Not the table, because it doesn't look like it has coasters. So I don't want to leave rings on the red table.
You know what really upsets me? Really upsets me when I said just a minute ago jokingly that, Cubans think that she's a communist, una bonita. When Cubans are critical of the Estefans, it's like, I want to tell them, what more do you want? Like, what more do you want?
What do you want from them?
Okay, these people have...
They have no controversy,
with all
number one.
the class and dignity,
Yeah.
have represented us around the world.
Yeah.
They're talented.
Con el Papa.
They're philanthropists. Okay, they have been outspoken about Cuba since day one.
Yeah.
They had... She built... she did a whole album or albums, Mi Tierra, on the experience of being an immigrant and of Cuba, and it's the nostalgia of Cuba. This is a message that rings through all her music. They refused to go mainstream when they first started. The whole thing.
Right, yeah.
They were too Cuban for the Americans and too American for the Cubans, right? They've been authentic to who they are. They give back to the community. They stand.
They
for the
wear
community.
they wear their Cubanity proud.
It's like, what more do you want? Like,
Yeah.
what more do you want?
I want you to tell me, what do they need to do?
Like, what do they need to do?
Do you want
the Estefans to go on a boat and single-handedly bring down the government in Cuba? Because if that's what you want, just say it. Like, say it. Right? Emilio, Lily, Emily, Naib,
everybody.
Coge la
Bote.
escoba. Coge machete. Now we're going to Cuba to liberate Cuba. And finally, they probably go and do it. They'll be like, well, yeah, but it took you too long.
Right, but why did it take you 60 years?
You've been famous already, Gloria Estefan,
For 40 years.
Like,
That's 39 years too long.
Like, what more do you want from the Estefans? Like, what more do you want? She's a freaking Kennedy Presidential Medal of Honor. But no.
She's performed for, like, all the popes.
Yes, but no. For some people, she in I forgot what year, it was during the Obama years, they hosted Obama.
Well, she's been one of the only artists up until Trump to perform for every sitting president.
Right. They've never swayed politically, at least outwardly, publicly, one way or another, and I completely respect that.
Yeah.
It's like, pero que tú quieres de la vida? Like, these people are like the perfect spokesperson and role models for us. Like,
yeah, because they don't even have a controversy.
Yeah.
At all.
Their biggest controversy was her accident.
And they didn't even cause that.
Yeah.
It wasn't even their fault.
Maersk did.
And she came back from it.
Yeah.
And first Cuban story on Broadway.
Yes. And it was awesome.
Yes. Starring our girl, Ana Navarro. And our other girl, Andrea Burns.
Yes. Whatever.
I don't know what they want.
You just got me on a
No, ya veo. I actually can't wait because I'm going to be in New York next week. I'm going to go to see Ana in Chicago.
Oh, okay. You're going to be in New York to see her in Chicago?
Well, no, that's not why I'm going to New York. But since I'm going to be in New York, I'm going to go see her. And I'm very much looking forward to her wearing the blonde wig.
Oh, is there something about the blonde wig?
No, because she's playing Roxy in Chicago. And Roxy's traditionally a blonde actress.
So the only thing I know about this is that Renee Zellweger?
She's Renee Zellweger.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, she's Renee.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
If I would have gone with you, I would have been like, I'll be at the M&M store.
You know what? No, you wouldn't have, because A, that's a great musical.
Well, no, I
B,
would have seen it.
You would
because-
have gone to see Anna.
I mean, yeah, I would have seen it because of Anna.
And C, you have gone to see more musicals with people who are not me than me.
How many musicals have I seen with you other than Get On Your Feet?
That's exactly my point.
Oh, wow. He has like 3 musicals over you.
Yes.
And he shall remain nameless.
I mean, he doesn't listen to the show, but I will not stand for this.
Fine, I'll go see it because, Anna's in it. And we
Okay.
love Anna.
We do love Anna. We love her.
And I know the song All That Jazz.
There you go. So you know the opening number.
But then that song. Chicago has that song.
Oh, the Cell Block Tango.
The one, he almost did it. Or
The Cell Block Tango, yeah.
Yeah, to me that's equivalent to the 5,025,006,000 minutes.
You know what? We're gonna end because this is like last week when we cut it short on the Titanic conversation. We're just gonna move on and end the episode.
Little shop of
I want to go
horrors.
see that too. That's on Off Broadway now.
But that's about a plant.
that eats people. It's
Don't you remember there was a Little Shop of Horrors cartoon?
there was.
I remember I used to watch the cartoon. Little did I know.
So you didn't know what it was when you were watching the cartoon.
Right, because in the 80s when I was watching that cartoon, I knew that it was based on a musical.
I did. I had seen the musical.
You saw Little Shop of Horrors in the 80s.
The movie, yeah.
There's a movie?
Yeah, with Rick Moranis as Seymour and Steve Martin as the dentist and Ellen Green as Audrey.
I had not. I saw E.T. Let's spin back to extraterrestrials.
Extraterrestrials, yeah.
Yeah. Little Shop of Horrors, yeah. But what else have I seen? Or what else do I think
you saw it?
What else do I think is ridiculous? No, everybody tells me that I should see Book of Mormon.
Oh my god.
Because I liked Avenue Q.
Yes.
Is it by the same people?
No, but it's the same people who did South Park.
Oh, well. Duh.
So yeah. It's equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or worse.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. You need to go. Well, you know what? When it tours again, I'm gonna buy us tickets.
To Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
Would you let a 7-year-old watch South Park?
No.
Damn it.
Only because I don't know what they're going to say at any given
No,
moment.
you know why? Because
And especially certain 7-year-olds who ask questions about everything that is
right,
said.
because Tristan has set up a bunch of times. He's like, "Oh, I really want to watch South Park," and I've kind of been like, "Yeah," so I could rewatch it with you, especially those early seasons.
Yeah. I mean, I would, if anything, I would say watch some episodes and maybe cherry pick the ones that
You know, it's still like my favorite, right?
the Mecha Streisand
The Barbara Streisand with Robert.
with Robert Plant.
Yeah.
You know, that one I think he might. But the thing is that's another thing because all those references are going to fly over his head.
So rant.
Like, Mira, he's going to ask you who's Barbara Streisand. He's going to ask you why is she turning into Godzilla. He's going to ask you why is she a robot. Then he's going to ask you who's Robert Plant. Why is his last name Plant? Is he a plant? Yeah, these are all the questions that are going to come at you.
It's funny because the other day he asked me, "Is Stewie bad?" And I was like, "Define bad."
It's in the eye of the beholder.
Because for some reason, he really likes Peter Griffin. In fact, Peter Griffin for months was the background of his tablet.
And that's on broadcast television.
Yeah.
So
And
cable's worse.
But seriously, don't you think this is? Pero let me tell you, after the last soda,
oh.
I like that.
I like that.
After the last
After
soda.
the last soda.
Do you think, though, seriously, I'm asking for a friend, that something like Family Guy, do you think that a lot of it will go over his head?
I think that the average 7-year-old, yes. I think your 7-year-old will literally ask you what everything means, especially if he sees you laughing.
Yeah.
Because he's going to want to know, why is that funny?
And
the entendres on Family Guy aren't just doubles. Sometimes they're quadruples.
yeah, and Family Guy.
But yeah, they get away with a lot
Do you
of
like
shit.
Did you like Family Guy more than South Park?
I haven't watched South Park in a long time, and I still watch Family Guy. I think for me it's just that Family Guy. It's just it's on Hulu, so it's just there.
I like them both. I mean,
Yeah.
I even had you remember how much South Park merch I had? I had a bumper sticker at one point, the shirts and all that. But Family Guy, it's
just very different because Family Guy is just like quick,
yeah.
like joke.
Yeah.
Whereas South Park is a more traditional story.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about Family Guy is that, yeah, of course, like Stewie steals the show, but
not even anymore.
But it just, even like the subplots of like nobody likes Meg.
I feel so bad for Meg.
Like, and it's so there, but not there. But
Like nobody, they don't even bother to hide it anymore.
right? Like
They don't care.
it's whatever. Family Guy is hilarious. I thought they had canceled it for a while there.
No. It's still making some money.
He does want to watch The Simpsons. The Simpsons.
Is fine. The Simpsons is fine. Yeah.
I told him he started with season 1, and I'm like, oh my god, you started like when we were in like 4th grade.
Yeah. Simpsons been around for a while and will be around for a while.
Yeah. Why?
They're not going anywhere. I mean, they still bring in solid ratings. So why, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. So anyway, that was Pero Let Me Tell You after
the soda.
So, well, everybody, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned. This was, I feel, a full episode in terms of a well-rounded,
very robust
of topics. We hope you listened, laughed, and learned. Remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. Thank you for joining us. And it's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
So have a great weekend, everybody.
All right, cuídense, mi gente. Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.